Hello, CISD artists. This is me, Mr. McBride, and today we're going to talk about forms, 3D forms, and clay, or in this case, model magic. Okay, so your supplies that you'll need for this exercise that we're doing today is going to be some model magic, and if you can't find model magic, your teacher or I might share a good recipe for some homemade model magic that will get the job done just as well. So what we're going to focus on today are the three basic forms. Those forms are, and these names might vary depending on your teacher, but I call this a ball. Some other teachers call this a sphere. It's both, okay? So the first one is ball. And the way you get a ball is you take a piece of model magic or clay, you rub it in a circle on your hands or against a flat and hard surface like a table. So that's the first one, that's ball. The second one is a coil. So this is reminding you about stuff that you might already been taught or you're learning it for the first time. It's good stuff to know. So a coil is gained, and it's like a small, skinny piece of clay or model magic, and you get it by rubbing it one way. A ball is going in a circle. A coil is going one way, all right? And that typically works best if it's on a flat and hard surface like a table. Ball, coil, and now we have a flat piece of clay, and this last one is going to be called a slab. It's kind of like a pancake. It's real thin on all of its sides. So the way you get a slab is you take a piece of clay, and I typically like to start with a ball. I flatten it to a pancake, and I can either do this in my hands, but I prefer a table, so I can just use my thumbs or the inside of my palm, and I push down until I have something that's nice and skinny. When you're picking up your slab, just remember it's delicate because it's thin, so just peel it off ever so gently. So to review, we have a ball, you get it by rolling in a circle, a coil, you get by rolling up and down, and then a slab by pressing against a hard surface and making it nice and skinny and flat. Those are our three forms of clay, and we're going to need all three of those for our practice day today. After you've gotten familiar with using our ball, coil, and slab, right, you've practiced them a little bit, I want you to use these to make three different things. Now, these can be combined in a series of different ways. Some of you that have me as your teacher might remember that my classic example of how these things go really well together is that if you combine your coil to your ball and your slabs to the side, you can make an elephant out of these little parts. I can take two little balls and I can roll tiny little ones. If you're rolling a tiny ball, roll it in your fingers. It helps a lot. And I can place them right there, and I have, a quickly done elephant that I've just made using the coil, the balls for the head and the eyes, and the slabs for the ears. So these things are meant to be used together, right? It's hard to get something made with just one type. But as we're making stuff today, if you mess up, hey, look, super easy, both the model magic and the homemade. If you mess up, guys, just close it together and you can start over. But like I was saying, these forms, they work well together. Your challenge this week is to make three different things. Now, when you make something, I want you to use one of these things as the main component. What do I mean by main component? So let's say I took a coil and I was wanting to roll it, and I take it and I spiral it together, or it's looking like it's some sort of ice cream cone if I pushed it down, but it's flat, like a spiral. And I take this little part and I peel it off. I take two little baby pinches of clay. I roll in my fingers for some balls. Maybe even less than that, guys. It's super small, so I'll take half of that and roll this, and I'll gently put it right here. I have made a snail. Oops, sorry, off the camera. I've made a little snail out of my coil. Now, I used something that wasn't a coil, right? My eyes, I started with balls, and then I pressed them against the head. And so they changed their shape a little bit, but they started out as balls. But if you can look at this little creation, it was from a coil. The main part is a coil. And that's what you guys need to do for this week's challenge. This week's challenge, our practice for our clay unit, is to build things, but you want to build 3 different things, and each thing you build is going to have a main component. So this is mainly a coil. If I was going to do some sort of slab, I'll go ahead and make some. Next build, I'm going to show you something that is mainly slabs, but I wanted to show you before I made the slabs that I actually started off with 4 similarly sized balls, because if you're wondering, like, how do I get the slabs just the right size? If I start with a ball and I look, okay, these are the same, these are close to the same, these are close to the same. When I flatten them out, they're going to be mostly the same. So I'm going to fast forward, and you can watch me. I'll make these into slabs, and we'll talk about a potential slab build I could make. Now for this next part, my plan for my slab build is actually to make some flower petals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of gently kind of pull it one way so that one side has some sort of point, right? It doesn't have to be super sharp. And then one side is more rounded. So rounded point. I'll show you that on a couple more. I'm pulling one side. As I pull one side, my other hand is kind of supporting, is holding it ever so gently. Right? I'm supporting it with my right hand, I'm pulling with my left. Whichever way you figure out, it's fine. Today is a practice day, so if you're practicing these new type of builds and it's not going well, remember, Model Magic clay, it's forgiving. So if you gotta clump it all together again and try again, so be it. Not a big deal. Make sure you're having fun with what you're building, okay? Clay's a fun thing, let's let it be fun. So I have 4 slabs, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, even though the shapes aren't the same as you recognized before, they're still slabs because they're thin pieces of clay, right? Thin pieces of clay that I've squished like pancakes. Now I have another ball. I'm going to flatten this out. This one, I want it to remain in its circle shape. All right, that's good for me. I'm going to put my slabs really close together. And in the middle, I'm going to put the flattened circle that I have. And my goal was to make a flower, and I'm going to have all underneath my circle, I have my flower petals or my slabs. It looks like I could use a couple more, right, that come out from different angles, but for right now, this will get the job done. I can use things like pencils and other tools, toothpicks, maybe even some silverware that isn't something that you normally eat with, and you can use that to make marks in the Model Magic to kind of communicate that, hey, this is the center of my flower. So these are 2 examples of what our challenge is today. Remember, you're making 3 things for this week. You can make 3 different things and take pictures of them one at a time, right? Maybe you only have this amount of clay, so you can build your one thing and then squish it back to the center and then build another thing. If you have enough Model Magic to make 3 things separately, all by themselves, that's fine too. But I am expecting you guys to make 3 different things, and each time you make it, they're either going to be all of a coil, mostly a coil, mostly the ball form or the sphere, or mostly, like the one you see right here, a slab, which is our flattened piece of clay. I'm looking forward to see what you guys post to Schoology. Bye-bye and have a wonderful day.